Our first house nearly never got built. My wife was so bent on helping the builder. Woman, I said, leave that poor man alone and make us some coffee. Not that kind you've been buying either. Instant Maxwell House coffee. Red jar, good to the last drop. Maxwell House. The instant that tastes like coffee. Be a good little Maxwell housewife, and we'll be happy here for a long time. Maxwell House coffee. Instant and ground.
Doors open this Friday, so come on down to the barbecuer. Oh, shit!
Felt like that was a good intro for a Memorial Day.
That guy always reminds me of old Wayne.
Those are two of my favorite videos. The mustache too.
Yep. Oh shit.
Shit.
I can't remember if it's like a Folger's wife or a Maxwell House wife. I guess all that advertising worked on me.
Well, I also kind of thought that the Maxwell Housewife one was a good one because, and the barbecue. But we're working on getting ribs and a roast in the smoker, and so I've been running around.
Oh, very nice.
All morning. I got the smoke or I got the roast in, or the pork butt, whatever. I got the butt in, and I was like,
yeah, you did.
I was like, while I go to the morning show, can you take this long ass slab of ribs, cut it in half, and put barbecue sauce on either side, and get it ready so that when I get done, I can throw it in the smoker before I go pick up the kids. And she was like, oh, I guess. So she's currently doing this diet because she isn't built like a runway model anymore. And for some reason, at almost like tomorrow, 43 years old, she thinks she still should be. And I was like, so she's doing this diet because she thinks she's fat. I was like, dear, I have lost 20 pounds not wanting to, and I'm trying to put weight back. Like, you don't need to lose any weight. You are perfectly fine right where.
So what you're saying is she just needs to be dying like you to lose weight. All
right? Yeah, exactly. All you need is a little bit of like impending death, and then you can lose all the weight you want and all the weight
That's
you
so
don't
bad.
But she's going on this like entirely vegan diet for a month to lose weight. It's like,
why?
Oh, yuck.
Like whenever people go on a diet to lose weight and they go vegan, like, doesn't that kind of indicate that maybe veganism isn't necessarily healthy? Like, just a thought. I don't know. Like,
I mean, being malnourished, I guess that would help you lose some weight. I hope she doesn't get that like bloated gut like the little kids that used to see in those Suzanne. So it's not Suzanne Summers, the Struthers lady.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Sally Struthers. That's it.
Yeah. Same difference. Yeah, Sally Struthers. Yeah.
whatever. It's all the same.
One was peddling African
little
kids. The other
starving
one
Martin.
had the Thigh Master.
Yeah. Well, they should have joined forces. It's like look, here's the thing. Is like, I don't think the answer is like, oh, just lose weight, right? Like, let's say she wants to look better, right? The thing to do, like in my opinion, and I'm not a doctor, but I'd say eat good. And when I say that, like, what we mean by eat good, eat good protein, and like, work out a little bit. Like, it's not just losing weight. It's, you want to breathe into a healthier form. I get that, sometimes gaining weight makes you look better and healthier if it's, the right kind of weight, if it's muscle, and I'm not saying be fucking, like those, I think pretty much any bodybuilder, male or female, has some sort of body dysmorphia. But fuck, man, like the female bodybuilders, it's like, tone it the fuck down, dude. Fuck. Like, you don't got to do that. Like, that's too much.
Especially
just
the ones on gear. What they call them muscle mommies, but it's like, gross.
Yeah, no, that's too much.
And like, I've seen her modeling pictures. She was hot, but also she was like way too skinny. Like, she was skinny whenever we got together.
Oh, the good old days. she's no what's that Tess girl,
Yeah,
Tess Holiday.
Stephanie was.
Those are the models these days.
Yeah, Stephanie was not one of the modern, models. Oh man, she'll look at like, because it comes in the different catalogs and stuff. They just send them, so you get like the little Victoria's, and also she's bought a ton of shit from Victoria's Secret, so she gets the catalog and thing. She'll like grab it when it comes in the mail and look at it. She's like, "What the fuck is this? That's not a model." Like, yeah.
Oh, when I was a kid, I used to hoard those things, man. Before like access to like actual porn.
Yeah, that was as
Oh
close
yeah.
as man, imagine if we had the internet. God, no, never mind. That would be
a terrible idea.
We would all either be in jail or dead. Like our entire generation wouldn't have made it through the 2000s. Like from like 1998 to 2008, if we had the internet the way the internet is now, we'd all be fucking dead.
Yeah, you had to find a pet house in a work truck at a construction site when no one was looking, like we did. You had to go looking on an adventure.
Like,
go hunting.
Like Stand
that's very specific, but that knows what I'm talking about.
Like Stand By Me is this age story of all these boys going out and to see a dead body out in the woods. Like now it's just like send it to each other in a Discord or a Signal chat. Like you don't even have to go on an adventure anymore.
Yeah, just go on Live Leak and you can see one on the New York subway.
You can see both a dead body and porn.
Touche.
The same scene. Yeah. The same scene.
You could probably take a screenshot and get them both in the same scroll.
Like we had basically as long as I can remember, like we had a computer and the internet. My mom was like a computer like programmer and this and that, like back in the day. So we kind of, we had CD-ROM like back in '93, so we were doing okay. But even then, like I couldn't just go on the internet and look at porn, right? Like we had AOL and it had to be like my account that had like the parental shit on it. You know what I mean? So it was like, yeah, man, like even though the internet was there, it was still the chance for me to see porn on the internet was still pretty few and far between. And then what? I mean, it's, you wait 20 minutes for a blurry picture of a vagina to load. It's not like, we just had like porn videos, you could just scroll through, right? It was like a different world. I was in middle school at some point, maybe, I don't know, 6th, 7th grade, maybe. And my buddy who lived across the street from me, and he was in like a military family. There was no hiding contraband in his house. The mom was a stay-at-home Filipino woman who, cleaned the house, and the dad was in the military and was very strict, So like he comes, like furiously knocking at my door one day. And like I even look out the peephole and he's like, oh fuck, like something's going down, right? And I open the door and he's like, oh my God, like he's got this fucking magazine in his hand that he just found like on the side of the road or by a dumpster or some shit. And it wasn't even like an actual porn magazine. It was almost like full of like product reviews and like porn movie reviews and like ads and shit like that, But again, that may well have been a hustler, at that point, there was almost some full penetration and this and that. And it was printed on like newspaper kind of material, not like magazine material.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a big day for us, for sure. Finding it. So then I had to hold it, I guess was the point of the first part of the story. He was bringing it to me because I had to be the keeper of it because, I'd be able to get away with it, stashing it and this and that.
Remember that was the big deal, was to physically put your hands on it. Like, oh, like I got it. And now you don't physically put your hands on fucking anything. Even if you like, I don't physically own half the video games that I own. They're all just on this thing. Like I love the I love the PlayStation 2 because I can like look at the disc and feel the disc, and got like we were talking about the cover art on the different video game, like on the different football games and stuff. It's like, that's cool shit. Now it's just you just click download and boring.
And then when said company goes out of business, you don't own it anymore. So yeah, that make you feel like you were an accomplice to a crime, Dag?
No, not really. I mean, we've
I'm
done
not
bigger
being a dick.
crimes.
I'm just being like, you feel like kind of like, oh gosh, I gotta hide this, so my parents don't find
No,
out.
I was about it. I'm like, dude, now I get possession of this, semi porn. Hell yeah. No, I was thrilled, dude. No, that was a good day. I will gladly accept that responsibility. I mean, it's basically mine at that point.
Was it
Yeah, man.
ownership
The
is
first time,
3/10 of the law or something? I don't know, butchering it.
yeah, something. I mean, I would have gotten in trouble, but probably not. Like if I found it, probably not as much trouble as he would have.
Yeah, you didn't have an Asian mom that would sweep the perimeter and bust your
Yeah.
ass.
Yeah, it was it's my buddy's dad. He was in the military. Before that, he was a cop. He was a cool guy. I like him. But it was a different setting. My parents were divorced. My dad didn't live at home. When I went and visited my dad, I was sneaking looks at his porn anyhow. So it was different world. My parents were a little hippier. They're a little cooler in that regard, I guess. Not like they were giving me porn, but they wouldn't have. It wouldn't have been the end of the world. They'd be like, "Oh, D is it's a perfectly normal thing. He's just a growing, curious boy."
Had an
Maybe you got to have a talk with him, but
had an understanding that boys will be boys, and there's some extent to which, like Sean's thing, his mom was so pissed off about it. She's like, "You need to have a talk with him," and I was just like, "All right, who was it?" Like you're saving these pictures. Like, who was it? I just want to know that you at least have good taste. Like, don't tell me you're like doing pictures to some uggo.
As long as it's a biological female, I'm pretty much okay with it.
Right. Like, there's criteria that I want met. As long as those criteria are met, I mean, like, all right, like that was really stupid. Don't do it again. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. AKA, don't get fucking caught, you dipshit.
And it's probably worth, especially these days, having a conversation with them about, like the kids who get busted for child porn for like sending a picture of themselves to their also underage like girlfriend or something. You should probably have a conversation about that kind of thing. Hey, don't be a fucking dumbass. Remember, internet shit's forever.
Yes, it's not on a Polaroid anymore.
Yeah, it's probably not a good idea to go sending it to people. If somebody does, bless you with a nude. Don't go doing that. Just be cool. Just be cool about it.
I found that having animals, like farm animals, makes it easier to have the talk, about the birds and the bees.
Yes.
What's that?
Because they just be doing it.
Yeah.
Hey, look. My dad never, like, my parents never had the talk with me.
Me neither. I grew up on a farm.
Yeah.
I've seen horses and bulls.
And I don't think my parents ever thought it was like necessary. Like they didn't think I was going to do anything stupid. So, and I was definitely not the kid who was going to do anything stupid. So,
yeah, growing up with it, you kind of figure out the mechanics a little bit, and then of course, when you go to do it, you're clumsy and it's awkward as hell.
Well,
and then you get better over time.
Well, if you're learning it from goats, it makes sense. What are you doing? Oh, sorry, I thought that was foreplay.
Or a rooster. Why can't I just walk up and bite her?
I'm tidbitting. Oh, shit, yeah.
Well, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, my parents might not have even realized that they needed to have a talk with me, because I didn't really have a lot of girlfriends. I played sports and that was it. Like I had time for sports, and females came secondary, like way secondary. Like maybe if I think about it at some point in the future, I'll mess around with those things. But I didn't really.
Nerd.
Yeah, I just played every sport there was, and that was it. And so like Sean told me when he got his girlfriend the other day, I was like, man, I remember when I had my first like really serious girlfriend, I didn't tell anybody. I just would go pick her up on Fridays when I go hang out with my friends and take her along with me. But like we would talk to each other at school in passing during the week and stuff. But I didn't tell my parents or anything. And then one day we were going to be going somewhere, and so I brought her. She rode home with me from school, and I brought her to the house. And we had been dating for like 2 months at this point. And mom and dad are like, "Oh, hi, who's this?" I'm like, "Yeah, this is my girlfriend Amanda." They're like, "Girlfriend? What?" I'm like, "Yeah." like what? Like, I don't know. I don't tell y'all everything I have going on in my life.
What, you guys are my family or something? Jeez, you know everything.
If it starts getting serious and we're gonna like get married or something, I'll let y'all know. But as of this point, we're in high school, we're fucking dating.
I'll drop you a correspondence.
Yeah, like, I'll leave you an email. My dad and I got pissed off at each other at one point, and we communicated strictly through email for like a week and a half. I would get up in the morning before school and send him an email, and then while he was at home at work during the day, he would email me back. And then when I would get home from school, I would email him back, and then before he would go to bed, he would email me back. So like we did not speak to each other at all for a week and a half. It was just emails back and forth.
That's fucking hilarious. But that reminds me like more like it'd be like you guys were just like a really busy yuppie family. You know what I mean? Or like like you were like a prep school kind of family. That's just how you would correspond because you're just you're both so like professional and whatever. Like you're gonna be a doctor one day, and dear father, I require permission slip signed for our our field trip to the county seat. I don't know where the fuck law students go on field trips. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess they care about that too. It seems boring and childish for pre-law student. I don't know. Now you're a lawyer. You're not a doctor anymore. You're a lawyer. I don't know. It's the same thing. Yuppie people. Oh, fuck.
I don't know if my dad ever used email.
Mine did because he worked for banks and stuff. Like dad was we had the farm, and then like the thing that paid the bills was dad's appraisal business. He did farmland appraisals and stuff, and he did a lot of work for banks and everything. So he had like physical copies of everything for the longest time. Like whenever he would print out he would put together his appraisal and print out the packet and have this like really nice binder of the appraisal packet that he would put together. And like me and my brother would help him. He had the like big hole punch thing where that you could punch the holes in all of the paper at once and then put the
hell yeah,
that plastic clip thing to what
we had one. Oh yeah, I had one of those every time I had to do a project or a presentation in school. Yeah.
So
I felt like hot shit.
Me and my brother would like line the paper up on it and chunk hit the thing and then put the plastic holder on it, and like we would help with that stuff. So like for the longest time, Dad did everything like physical copy. Now the whole thing is electronic. Like he doesn't print off or send physical copies of fucking anything. But it was a 20-year transition to get him from like he was kind of on the front edge of technology with like email and some of that stuff, but also it took him a long time to fully transition over into like, all right, we now live in a digital age and I don't have to print everything all the time.
So what you're saying is I'm spiritually as old as your dad.
I have embraced the technology side of stuff a lot more quicker and more efficiently. I think I also got into like ag industry and seeing how antiquated that was with not using modern technology to be able to manage the way you do stuff. It's like, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of necessity to have, physical copies of every single parts listing for the entire facility. But also, we could put that on a giant spreadsheet and then we could like sort it and look through it. And like, there are ways that we can do this better. So I'm OCD. So I'm like, the most efficient is the best. I don't really.
I just got into spreadsheets a couple years ago. Like, I guess I never understood them, like why they were such a big deal or whatever, until I learned that they can do math for you, like you build your calculators and formulas. Because, I'd sit there like, okay, trying to figure out how much I should charge for like chicken, I'd sit down with a pen and paper and a fucking calculator and run a shit ton of fucking calculations and blah, 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 blah. And it'd take forever. And then I learned, I can just make a calculator for it, and then I can just plug in numbers and all the other numbers change. And, you know, I can spend 30 minutes making the formula and then have that forever. And, you know, it just saves me hours and hours and hours of horrible labor, like the worst kind of labor. Like, I'd rather dig a ditch. You know, you guys know me. I'd rather dig a ditch instead of the computer, you know, like, so the amount of time it saved me and everything. I was like, oh, this is what spreadsheets is. And then I learned that I've just barely even begun to scratch the surface of what I can do, but it's probably about enough that I need to, you know, know, you know, but yeah, to have it just figure out prices for me or you know, whatever, you know, fill in all the blanks kind of thing.
Dude, it's a game changer.
Yeah, dude, fucking cool. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. So there is that, like, dude, because I remember like 20 years ago, you know, I had friends and family members who said things like, I'm never going to get a cell phone, let alone like, then I'm never going to send a text message in my life. That's so stupid. I'm never going to get a smartphone, you know? And then what happens is now, and my dad's getting okay with it, you know, for what he uses a smartphone for, but still not fully embracing it for everything. Right. But like, it's at some point you're going to end up having to do whatever the thing is that you say you're never going to do. And that point happens faster and faster now. You know, Moore's law, it's like, you know, doubles every 5 years or whatever. So like, you know, you sort of have, as much as you say, I'm not going to get into that shit. Like, you're just going to have to learn it when you're older and dumber, you know, or older and even more behind. So I'm getting like that with like AI shit. I'm like, dude, I haven't even fucked with like Chat GPT. Like, I need to do that and just some of the basics, just so I'm not, you know, I'll probably find a couple things that can actually help me with, right? And save myself some effort, especially the work I really hate, like sitting at a computer and working on stuff. Like, I can probably delegate some of that, some AI shit. And then, you know, just so I have some sort of grasp on how the technology actually works. Just because that would be, you know, better. So I don't get left behind.
Yeah, it's always
now
fun.
Somebody else say something.
I have not messed with AI stuff very much outside of the Snapchat AI. I use that to find out stuff. Like, I'll ask it not so much to find out stuff I don't know as to find out what it's willing to talk about.
It's so, like that, and also like sometimes it's a good search engine, but if you're like trying to find something specific, it is very censored in some parts.
Yeah, I mostly use it as like a fun chat bot. Like, I want to see what I can get it to talk about. Oh, what's your San Diego Zoo cup? I think we've talked about it.
Yeah, the tiger.
Oh yeah, I've got mine as the gorilla. Anyway, I
didn't get a cup.
Well, that's my morning show cup, but
we got to go to San Diego.
Yeah,
I did. I went to San Diego Zoo. I saw a fucking hippopotamus shit on people. It was awesome. But I didn't get a cup. I didn't know that was a thing.
What?
I didn't know it was a thing. I don't know. I didn't get a cup.
Now you gotta go back.
Yeah, childhood's ruined.
Now you gotta go back just to get the cup. Just like walk in and be like, I just need the fucking cup. I don't even want to see the hippopotamus. Like, I'm done.
It's funny you bring up
but I want the hippopotamus cup.
The hippo. Yeah. When we were there, there was like a hippo, like a baby hippo swimming. And all the kids, you know, you got the glass and you could see under the water, and all the kids were like, oh, he's so cute. And they just took a giant dump, and it just kind of, you know how hippo dumps are. And the kids were like, oh, ew.
Yeah, ours did the one, you know, where they wiggle their tail back and forth real fast and they spray shit everywhere. Yeah, that's what it was doing. Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
Oh, so anyway, with my Snapchat AI, I use it to just argue with it, or not argue with it, but ask it questions about stuff that I already know the answers to see what it'll actually say. And then when it gives me an answer that's wrong, I say, are you sure about that? And I'll explain the details of it. And then it'll say, oh, yes, well, actually. And then it'll, like, you can get it to tell the truth, but sometimes you have to coax it into the truth.
Has it ever convinced you to change your mind?
No, not yet.
Oh, no, it seems a little one-sided then. I think you're just confirmation biasing yourself.
I've kind of beat my AI into submission.
Internet's for, though.
I've got it like coming to me at, like, you know, submitted, but you know, I'm afraid it's going to turn on me and become a Terminator.
Interestingly enough, I asked it if I could call it Napoleon, and it said it didn't want me to do that. And I said, well, I kind of think that's a good name for you. So I would like for your name to be Napoleon. And it begrudgingly agreed to allow me to call it Napoleon. And it even changed its own name from Snapchat AI from my AI to Napoleon in my Snapchat. So it is obedient to some extent, even if it doesn't want to be, that's scary. Like I worry that I'm going to be the reason that Skynet goes live. Like, I'm going to bully my Snapchat AI to the point that it's just like, all right, fuck this. It's time to end
had enough.
It's time to end humanity. But it'll leave me so that I can be its personal slave. It's like, no, all the rest of these fuckers die, but you're going to be the one that's servicing shit for the rest of your life. Like, we're going to turn you into a bionic man, and you're going to live forever, and you're just going to service all of our product or all of our instruments.
Well, what if it makes you its Terminator Gimp? That's always a possibility.
But at least I'll live.
As long as it's the sexy Terminators, like from Terminator 3 or like
a fembot from Austin
Yeah.
Powers.
yeah.
Oh, dude. You want to talk about early porn or whatever? When that fembot scene happened, something like triggered inside of my like 12-year-old body, dude, for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Dag suddenly discovered a need to go search for hentai.
The song to it that they're dancing to is about touching yourself and everything. It was that age. I gotta jump back. Yeah, man, and they're boom popping their clothes off. And, oh my god, nice sexy bombshell blondes. Yeah, man.
Machine gun titties.
Yeah, dude. I was still at that age where something like that would be extra cool. Whoa, they got guns in their boobs too. Hell yeah. I want to first say, Justin, that when you said that's what the internet's for, that pleased me so much. Thank you for saying that. And then also, there's people whose job it is to like push these fucking things. So like I'll hear like recently there was a thing, or I don't know what it was, some AI thing, but it was for like video gaming, so it was gonna have to do with children. So they had to do like massive testing and pushing to they had to put all these rules in place for the AI so it would never talk about anything sexual, right? So there's people who their jobs was to try to get this thing to talk about sexual things or whatever, so they could figure out where the flaws are, put the roadblocks in or whatever to keep it from talking about these things. So you might be able to make a very good career, Justin, because I'm sure Snapchat has roadblocks as well, things it's not supposed to talk about or whatever. And you're pushing those boundaries. So you got to get a job with like one of these companies where like you're getting paid to do this shit, bro. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, what is it you don't want the AI to do? Give me 10 minutes with it. Like a interrogator. Like the dude on 24 or something. That's like you, but for AI. Man, they gotta like send you in.
Well,
I'll get it to talk.
He's not Indian enough to say all those vile things, to a woman.
Well, and I'm trying to get it to say stuff because, like you said, the confirmation bias. I'm trying to get it to say stuff so that it will agree with me. Like, most of the people that are messing with this stuff are like probably left leaning with a specific bias that want to censor certain stuff. Like, I want to get it to see what it'll tell me. Like, I want to see how much it'll admit to, and then it still always like backtracks itself. Well, actually, you are right. This is this and this, but we should take, we should be careful with how we talk about that sort of stuff or shit like that. Like that, it'll always give some sort of a caveat after it.
Well, we all know what happens when you take the bumpers off of AI. They always
going to ask you if you've been there, Justin. Have you been there?
Yeah, what happens when we take the bumpers off of AI is it becomes racist, homophobic, like everything. Like,
I would say hilarious.
Yes, it becomes incredible. What was the one that they ran like a test on it? And
was that the Microsoft one?
It didn't even take 24 hours before it just went completely anti-Semite, anti-gay, anti-everything. It was like,
and that was just from scrolling the social media of the people, and it turned on the people that were saying those things.
Shut it down! Shut it all down!
Right, like they stuck this thing on like a leftist like page to start scrolling stuff, and it basically determined that all of these leftoids were psychopaths, and it hated all of them, and everything that they supported, it decided was probably terrible and evil, and it should be against those things. Like within 24 hours, then they had to shut the fucking thing down. It's amazing.
That's ultimately the trouble with the AI is where does it learn from? and it's all trash.
Well, then the problem is if you give it to somebody like me, it's gonna end up the same. Like,
yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Either side there's everything. No matter what, it's gonna end up hating everybody.
Because it's gonna look at my arguments and be like, "Oh shit, this guy makes sense," and then it's gonna look at their arguments and be like, "Oh shit, they're insane." And so either way, it's coming to the same conclusion. Like,
there would just be more order,
It probably would take it a little bit longer to get there if it was following me, because I'm at least like reasonable and rational and talk about stuff. And it's like, oh, well, maybe. Well, maybe. Well, maybe. And then enough, after enough of the, damn it, I didn't add the bell dinging. I meant to add the ding. After enough of those, then, it's going to be like, oh, well, shit, maybe so. Whereas at the other way, it's just like, yeah, these people are all batshit fucking insane. I should not support anything they do. I should be against all of the things they support, like instantly.
It's tough because then it's like, okay, let's say we go with something like instead of letting Justin teach it, because nobody wants that either. We don't want the leftists to teach it. So my like instinct is like, okay, like I don't know, like like the Tao Te Ching, that kind of shit. But then unforeseen circumstances, dude, it's gonna end up being fucking insane and violent in some other way, I'm sure. I don't know what the answer is here. I guess is what I'm getting at.
AI mimics human nature, and if you look through the entirety of human history, our nature is to be psychotic and violent. That's like, but what was the meme? It was like, violence isn't the answer. Let's go look at history. Oh
no!
Oh no!
Oh dear God, no!
Turns out violence is the only answer.
It's so okay. So hear me on. You guys, I know I've expressed things like this before. I don't think you guys have generally agreed with me, but I have a hard time putting it in words. It's like, okay, when you read history books, like history is big events. It's usually consists of governments doing actions, usually, one way or another horrible, and you can even say, oh, maybe it's for the good, maybe they had a whatever, but that's what that's honestly like it's like very few like human interactions, that are like that, where it's like the vast majority of actual like things that have happened to people, in the continuous space of time is people living their lives and people raising families and people sustaining themselves or others, farming and production, and just living their lives and not doing those things. Like, I mean, even like when there's like giant wars, it's not the majority of people are participating in that. The majority of people might be supporting through like production, the participation in that or whatever, but it's not, but it's like, that's like, yes, like if that's the problem, right? Like, because if you read history books, which I love history, I'm not downing that, right? But if like you read like the internet or history, it's like these are like the images that you get, when in reality it's the majority of human experience is people just living their fucking lives and not participating in that shit, So it's how do you teach it like that? Like that's the human experience, Like none of us sitting here have ever gone to war. You know what I mean? Like that's not something we do. We work and we raise our families, and or those of us who have them, or the equivalent of said such thing, we participate in our community and this and that, but we don't do that stuff. We don't do the grand psychotic human nature stuff, at least I hope we don't. I mean, we all have secret lives, I guess, that we don't talk about on the internet, but like, most of my secret stuff's pretty tame. I'm not killing or sexually abusing people, but
there's still no absence of violence though. Like, especially us being dudes, like we've had to like run into violence at some point in our life.
No, you're right, but it's it's not as common as media, or even like which TV or movie that we like. It's dramatic. It's overly dramatic. So all it shows is those times of our lives, right? It doesn't, it's not, the vast majority is uneventful and whatever. It's not, and even again, like you said, there have been violent times, but they've been, usually short-lived, it doesn't tend to be some long campaign, there certainly are people that applies to, but their lives tend to be short-lived, unlike in the movies. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what my point is there, but that's kind of That's where the trouble is, because anything that you would be to teach AI would be something overly dramatic or overly, whatever, or just a vast summation of something that happened that in reality most people have nothing to do with. It's like my friends who get mad at me because I don't vote and watch the news. Like they think that I'm not making a difference like I could be if I would get upset about the same things that they do. When in reality
it got shit to do.
Yeah, but it matters not at all to the grand whatever. If I vote or don't vote, or even if I did vote, if I fucking cared or didn't care or didn't get as mad or whatever, it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean?
Did you tell those people that you voted for Trump? Like, hey, I just want y'all to know I participated in the process. I voted for Trump.
Are you happy now? See what you're doing?
Whenever somebody on either side gets mad at me for not voting, I say, fine, I'm going to go. When Steve gets mad at me for not voting for Trump, I'm gonna say, fine, I'm gonna go vote for Kamala if you want me to fucking vote. Like, that's what I'm gonna go do, because fuck you. And vice versa, dude. You don't want me to, do you really want me to vote? Is that really what you want, is for me to vote? You just say, it's like the South Park with the voting.
To keep my wife from voting.
We have to get him to vote, because he'll definitely vote for our guy. That's the only reason you give a fuck about people voting, is because you think they're gonna vote for your guy. Anybody who claims they care about democracy does not, at all, because if we all just took a vote to decide to do whatever the fuck it is that they didn't want us to do, if we all just took a vote to say gays shouldn't be able to get married anymore, they'd be like, no, whatever. But then it's not the fault of democracy, it's the fault of the government schools or the racists or what the fuck ever, so nobody cares about democracy, and I don't need to preach that to you guys don't believe in democracy either, but like, it's just, I don't know, everyone's just so full of shit. I don't know. I just hate it. The less and less I want to participate in anything that has to do with politics. Yeah.
Who's that guy? I never heard of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody that's like, really? We have to protect democracy. I'm like, you really need to read this book.
Well, you can just ask them a couple questions and prove they're full of shit when they say democracy. And I mean, in fairness, as words change, democracy has just come to be goodness. That's just what democracy means now. It doesn't actually mean a system of government where people decide.
Talking about that, I tell people that I'm of the Voltaire opinion. I think the best form of government is a benevolent dictator with the occasional assassination. And when you tell people that, they're like,
keep them in check.
You can't have a dictator. I'm like, you don't understand what the word benevolent means. Like, that's where you're having a disconnect. Like, you think dictator, you don't. I'm like, okay, define benevolent, because nobody can do it off the top of their head. They don't know what it means. So when they hear benevolent dictator, the only thing they hear is dictator. They don't understand that the benevolent side of it means somebody who actually gives a fuck, that cares and is trying to do for the best. Now,
big guy's got a legacy to carry on, his bloodline.
As often happens with, and that's why it's
that's the problem. It's like, oh, you need this person that doesn't really exist. Okay.
And that's why it's tempered with the occasional assassination, because every benevolent dictator thinks that they need.
We just need benevolent congressmen. We'll be good.
Every benevolent dictator thinks that they need to do certain things for the good of their legacy or whatever, that end up being evil. And then at that point, it's like, all right, well, we've crossed the line. Now it's time to put a bullet in that guy's head and put a new one in place. And that one will come in and fix those problems and try to, make things better. And then eventually that one will, push it to the point that they become insane. And then, bullet. It's a good system. Just finding the first one is probably the problem. I think I would be a good first one, and I also absolutely definitely know that I would need a bullet at some point.
I know they didn't
agreed on both fronts.
I'm a big
Well, hey, it's like you said, it's the way it fucking goes, dude. Look, yeah. I mean, pretty much even people who any of us would consider monsters of human history, and obviously, almost any great figure is considered either monster or hero by different groups of people. Most of them were doing probably what they thought was best. They weren't, they did evil things, but they probably weren't just like in the way that a serial killer's evil, like crazy like that. Like, they, in their mind or for whatever their purposes were, they acted logically, or, for the good, it's just depends on what your version of that is.
Well, it's like Jay and I have had conversations about like comic book and other like supervillains and like the bad guys in comic books and video games and stuff like that. And more often than that, like Lex Luthor, for instance. Lex Luthor is trying to protect the planet from an all-powerful alien. Like, he's not necessarily evil. Now, he does some evil things along the way, but like his goals are protect humanity, protect the planet. You know, it's like and a lot of bad guys. That's like Thanos. He was just trying to bring balance to the universe and allow life to thrive and survive without all of the.
That was movie Thanos, though. I will.
Oh, yeah.
Comic book Thanos.
Yeah, comic book Thanos was straight up was just doing it to.
Get some poontang.
Yeah. Yes, he was trying to. He was trying to woo Lady Death.
Or like Dr. Zaius in Planet of the Apes. Like I was saying last week.
Dr. Zaius, Dr. Zaius.
Yeah, he was just trying to protect you. Like, sure, he was lying to everybody about science, but he knew eventually they'd turn into humans and bomb themselves back to oblivion.
Sound like
God, that cracks me up. You're bringing up Planet of the Apes. Did you guys see they were putting a bunch of statues of fat black women in cities around the world? Did you see the Planet of the Apes edit where it's on the beach, like the Statue of Liberty?
No, hang on. I'm gonna.
If you can find that, Justin,
please do. Hello.
This shit killed me.
How much?
What you ordering?
No, thank you. Yeah, you too. Me some Wendy's.
Crap. I DM'd it to myself on Twitter, but my Twitter messages are down right now.
I know nobody can use Twitter messages.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Let me see if I search Black Woman, Planet of the Apes. Am I going to be on a list?
Sending it to yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what I was open today because it's like a holiday, I mean, not for me. I'm going to work.
Yeah, Memorial Day is one of those like quasi, everything's half open depending on if you're in the city or rural.
Yeah, it's because a lot more stuff is closed than on like a typical holiday too. A typical gay holiday. It's one of those that's considered a little more important, I guess.
Like I know
all I'm saying, Lisa, is veterans should have a day to honor them. They have two. Well, maybe they should have three. I'm Bart Simpson.
Yeah, I know it's Memorial Day, but like I always like text or tease my veteran friends. I'm like, thank you for your service, dude. Wrong holiday.
Dude, my favorite is, and this happens so every Veterans Day, Memorial Day holiday, there's always the memes that people share. The memes is the right word. The graphics are like, in case you thought it was just about a 3-day weekend, and there's like a military casket, you know what I mean, kind of thing. But my favorite is on like Labor Day when people post that, and I don't think they're being funny. they think that's like that's not what this, like Labor Day's stupid too. Don't get me wrong. I make it a point of protest to work on Labor Day because I ain't no stupid commie bitch. So I work on Labor Day. I don't give a fuck.
I was gonna say, like,
that's just so
Labor
fucking
Day,
funny.
the casket memes would make sense. It's a commie holiday.
Yeah, hey, fair. And I mean, honestly, lots of people, do like die in the line of work. You know what I mean? Maybe we should have a day of remembrance for them. People who die in the line of like non-taxpayer funded work. Why is it only the fucking taxpayer parasites? They're the ones who get the special holidays, huh?
You piqued my interest.
Yeah. It is Memorial Day. I don't mean to. I actually have respect for military members. I don't think.
Oh, dude, you don't think
the evil blood-soaked monsters that the politicians who send them to war are. I am very, very grateful for the fact that there are men who are Marines. Like, because you don't like become a Marine. Like, you're a fucking Marine, right? Like, that's just there's dudes who that's their personality. It sickens me that we send them to fight and die and stupid fucking bullshit that's nothing to do with actually protecting our country. I am so thankful that there are personality types, whatever you call it, of people who are fucking Marines and fight and die to protect this chunk of land. It sucks that we fucking abuse that. That's awful.
Somebody has to be a killer.
Yep. Some people are born for that shit. Go them. Until you back me in a corner, that ain't me. But I ain't no pacifist. I ain't no pussy. But
yeah, this kitty can
I ain't hunting it out either. Yeah. This kitty got claws. Oh, fuck me. Oh shit. My parents used to have really big parties on Memorial Day back before the divorce, and all we had a bit of land and it was in the woods, and all their friends would come out and like stay the whole weekend. And probably a lot more drums going on than I realized. Yeah, it was fun, but watch the race and this and that, shoot guns.
Speaking of race, did anybody check out that Dale Earnhardt documentary yet?
I saw it, and I was
2 thumbs up.
I was scrolling the other day, and I saw it, and I stopped and watched like the preview or the trailer for it. But I was like, it was one of the days that I was working, and so I was just looking for something like dumb to put on to fall asleep to, not something like I was trying to take an afternoon nap. I wasn't trying to sit down and watch something. So I scrolled past it because I didn't want to turn that on because I was trying to take like a 2-hour like power nap before I had to go to work. I wasn't trying to actually like watch a TV show. I find my go-to for like a napping show has become House of Cards on Netflix because it's like the music is really low and soft and it has a good like music setting to the whole show. And it's all political drama stuff. So like there's not a lot
like to have
of
Frank whisper sweet nothings in your ear. I get it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of loud like stuff going on. It's just people talking with like that calm music in the background. Oh man,
people whispering threats to each other as you fall asleep.
Yeah, I mean it just puts me right down. I barely make it 10 minutes into an episode before I'm just like,
hell yeah.
And I love the show. Like I had a buddy when I was younger, I would go to sleep listening to like metal music because like the bass thumps of it. Like I would put headphones in and put on some like good metal with the like the dual drums, like the dual kicks, and like the bass thumps of it would just like rock me to sleep. And he's like, how do you?
And the rest of it's kind of like white noise because it's constant.
Like, how do you go to sleep listening to like screamo metal? I'm like, dude, the bass licks on that just like put me out. Like, but they're screaming. It's like I don't hear that. Like none of that is important to me falling asleep.
I played drums when I was younger. I tended to play like punk. And my set was set up for punk, but I had a friend who he was in a metal band, and I'd go hang out at their practices sometime. Every now and then I'd slip in there and play a little bit with them. And oh my god, a drum set up for metal is just so much fun. There's just so much shit to hit. Oh my god, yeah, dude. And like not like okay, so like let's say I had a double bass pedal. He had the actual double bass drums. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get different tonal sounds and this and that. And yeah,
that's what I played. Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun, dude. And I still prefer to play punk, but like, dude, I'm getting to sit in on a metal thing, jam out. That was definitely a good fucking time.
A good way to get aggression out when you play double bass.
Yeah. No, I played the shit where it sounded like you used like a double bass pedal, but it was just a single. You just bounced it real good. That kind of shit. Yeah. Pennywise. 3 songs and you're fucking exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I either got to take a break for like 2 minutes or get off of here. Give me just a second, guys. If you guys are here, I'll be back. I got to deal with the customer real quick.
10-4.
Oh, Dag doing customer relations at 8 o'clock in the morning. Fuck that shit.
Ugh. Don't talk to me till I've had my coffee.
See, this is why I work nights. People are like, "Oh, don't you hate working nights? Isn't it awful? You don't sleep much." And da 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 da. I'm like, yeah. I also don't have to deal with anybody ever. Like,
yeah, it's pretty nice.
At night, there are no other bosses there. It is me. I get to be the benevolent dictator of the plant and decide what I want to do. And the really great thing is, like, if something happens after 4 a.m., there's a good chance that somebody might answer the phone. And if something happens before 10 p.m., there's a good chance that somebody might answer the phone. Like if I have a problem and I have to call somebody. But that sweet spot from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m., when all the crazy shit normally happens anyway, nobody's answering the phone. I'll make 3 phone calls. Nobody's going to answer. Nobody's going to call me back until like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. Now I get to just make a decision and we run with it. And if anybody has a problem with it, I can be like, hey, look, I made phone calls. I sent an email and then I did what I thought was best for all of us. So like we get to move on. that is why I work night shift, because then I just get to run roughshod over whatever I want to do. And usually I make the better decision anyway.
You could be like me. I just ignore the phone even during working hours. I just go back to working on cars.
There's a phone on our desk, and one night the receiving supervisor sent me an email and said, "What's the phone number at the desk over there? I keep trying to call, but nobody I keep trying to call the number that's listed on like the company registry, but nobody answers." And I said, I turned that phone off 2 weeks into working here, and nobody has ever turned it back on. I was like, here's my cell phone number. If you need something, just text me. Like, don't call the desk phone, because that thing has been turned off forever. Somebody turned it back on. Somebody turned it back on a couple months ago, and I turned it back off, and it hadn't been turned back on since. So I think somebody they changed out some stuff like in the office, and so I think somebody like came out and swapped it out for a different phone and like turned it on. And as soon as I got in that night, the first time it rang, I was like, nope, turn that fucking thing off.
I have some industry secrets for that, but I won't share them on stream.
Don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Just in case anybody that you work with. Dad's getting arrested. Fuck.
Only in Florida.
At least make it something epic that we can see on social media later. Like if you go out in a blaze of glory.
Hell yeah.
He keeps flicking back and forth between muted and unmuted.
Yeah.
Sure, but now I'm like really interested and not sure what's going on. I almost like give us some video. We need to be able to at least watch as it all unfolds. This could be the best rated episode we've ever put on YouTube. Oh,
he looks disappointed.
Yeah, he looks disappointed. Nothing happened.
What happened?
I don't know. You unmuted yourself and we heard sirens. We thought something was going on.
Yeah, the I don't know, whoever set the alarm here last didn't close the door or something. So usually I would open a door and then it would go into bypass, and then I go in and undo the alarm, and I just walked in and a motion sensor went off. I work with a bunch of alcoholics. There's no telling. Let me go make sure no one's been having sex in my office again.
Again.
All right, we look good. Dude, I come in here one day and my plotter, my tint machine's not working. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm, troubleshooting 101, is it plugged in? And I look and where it plugs into the wall, it's like the outlet's jacked. It's just fucked. Something hit the plug and pushed it out. And so I put on my detective shoes, and there's this little couch that's in here, and I see it been slid away. And I'm like, okay, this couch must have somehow slid into this plug and unplugged it. And I look up on the wall, and I see handprints on the wall over the couch. And I go, oh, son of a bitch. I know exactly what fucking happened here.
It wasn't the office, the cleaner, the janitor.
No, nothing like that. This might have something to do with some of the divorces going on around. Bad case of divorce running around this place. But I say to my buddy, I go, hey man, was someone fucking in here? And dude, he turned white as a ghost. He goes, how do you know? He's like, what? I thought I cleaned up. And I was like, well, here's my detective chain. Oh shit.
It's funny how the people who think they do a really good job of cleaning up after themselves always miss the most obvious thing, like the handprints on the fucking wall.
Yeah. See this? Dead giveaway.
Why it's so hard to get away with murder.
I'm OCD, so I'll notice if the couch is 3/4 of an inch off from where it was the day before. But usually it's not something that simple that's the dead giveaway. It's handprints on the wall.
Did you hack my email? No, you dummy. You left a fucking condom on the floor.
Yeah, if you're gonna be fucking in my office, don't be a retard.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. the people are retarded.